Welcome back, guys. So we have been on quite a journey, quite a few videos created to get to this stage, but we are nearly there. We have now got both devices, a PLC and an ESP32, communicating data up into a centralized location, up until this cloud location. Okay, and what I want to do now is I want to create a dashboard on the cloud that can sit in the cloud that we can visualize both these sets of data into one area. And then in the final video, what I'll probably do is get them to influence each other with maybe some buttons or something like that. So just to recap again, because I know it can get confusing, but we have a sensor on an Arduino or an ESP32, and we are communicating this data. We've developed a bit of code and we're communicating this data via an MQTT protocol up into the Watson cloud that's sitting on IBM cloud for us. Okay, and our device is coming in here, coming in as events, and we can see the temperature coming in, and we could have multiple metrics that we're using here. So we did that in a video, and then what we did, we connected a PLC. We used a version of NodeRed to read in data via an OPC UA protocol, which is sitting on my Ethernet cable coming into my computer, and then we're again developing a type of MQTT protocol that we're sending up into Watson in another table, and we can read this data coming in under events. We've got a value of a motor and a value of we're not getting any device events because I turned this off. Fair enough. So let me enable this back in, and let's go ahead and start passing data in again. Okay, so that's all coming in nicely. Data is coming in, and we've used API keys to help develop a bit of security here and help direct the sensor readings into the right area. Now what I want to do is I want to create a dashboard on NodeRed that will display both sets of data. And this is sitting on IBM Cloud, so it's on a cloud device. And if we look at our dashboard for this, if we just take it back to UI for our dashboard, we can see what we have available on our temperature for our ESP. And we basically want to replicate the events that's coming through here. So every time there's a new event under a new topic, we're going to get this here. And I know it's confusing because I have a version of NodeRed that's running locally on my computer. I can see this is the local running of it. I know it's sitting on a web page, but this isn't just using the web page to view it. This is the actual web page that this is public at the moment. So if you type in that web page, up to about here, you should be able to access this and play around with it and see the dashboard itself. Especially if you look under the UI. Now this video will go public, so we'll soon change these addresses and not use them anymore, but that's where you could get access to. Now at the moment I'm only displaying my temperature. I want to continue the video and add in from what we did here. We did some of our PLC stuff. We want to visualize that. Now just to keep things a little bit easier, I did create a local dashboard, but you know what, just to try and clean things up, I don't necessarily need what's going on here, and I don't necessarily have to return these messages. And we could just leave it like that. Reduce down those functions. So really this is all I need on my local session, and it makes it look a little bit cleaner of what's there. And let's just verify that everything is still coming through okay onto Watson and see the events that everything is coming through. Lovely. Okay, so everything is good. So now what I want to do on the dashboard, I'm going to do something very similar. And we're going to copy this out and we basically want to take data in, but we have the generic access code, so it's a generic API code for NodeRed to access IBM Watson, so it'll give us access to both tables. But what I want to do is I want to change those names to my correct stuff. So yeah, I should have access to them here. The device type is Siemens PLC, and it's PLC IO. And we want to take in all the events that's coming in. Okay, and you could specify them, but we just have them all coming in as one event. Isn't that right? Yeah, it's just one event. So that's going to take it in. I don't need to change the API code. Remember, this is how we've got an API code for the whole platform, or we have API codes for the individual ones. So make note of that and get that correct. So take that data in. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to split it up a little bit. So I've got something coming in for variable 2, and I've got something coming in from my motor. Okay, so I need to create these empty messages and kind of do a little bit of playing around here. So this one here, the payload of this, will have to get directed down to, I think it's going to say this. I'll show you how to find this information a little bit better, because I may have the syntax a little bit wrong. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and connect it to see this data coming through, and I'm going to want to return both these messages, so I've got to set it up as an array and take that in and take this in. These are the messages I want to return. Okay, we're going to need 2 outputs from that because that's what the array is. And then we're going to have, we're not going to do gauges, we're just going to do some text. Let's see, can we just display that nicely? Okay, so let me just pop in some text here. Text. Another one, oops, just do 2. First one is going to be, this is variable 2 that's just incrementing nicely for me, and then the other one's going to be motor. Okay, so what I should have is message payload. I'm going to display that, and then if I can try and see this stuff here, we should be able to select copy path, and this is what we'll want to put in here just to see if it's correct. Yeah, so it is actually. It should be working out okay. I think this will work all right. If I go to my dashboard now, we should see that, yeah, beautiful. Now you may want to split this into different groups, okay, just to make it look a little bit nicer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, and we're going to add a new dashboard group. So we're going to call this PLC. We'll put it under the same tab, and we'll click OK and done. And again, then we can reuse that as full system PLC. Wonderful. Apply that, and it should just group things nicely a bit better together. We should see that go up. Now the other thing I want to do is, well, I want to be able to control the output here, this motor. So I want to be able to write data back down in order to influence it. So I want 2 buttons here that I can actually turn on as part of my dashboard. Okay. So what we'll want to do is be able to send data back down. So I'm going to do this in another video because it's going to tie in with another button that we're going to use as actual hardware. But essentially we've created a dashboard and we've joined both data sets together using IBM Watson and using both those tables. I don't know why actually they disconnected there. But as I finish up this video, I just want to, yeah, we're still connected. I just want to kind of re-emphasize a couple of points because the way the data is flowing is important here. This IBM IoT is taking data in. It's taking events in as they happen on Watson. So every time we see an event coming in, like we see here, every time that event is triggering, this is triggering data in for us, and then we're able to store it and display it. So even though we are, let's say, pushing data out, there it is there, it's the IBM, we're creating an event and putting it into it as an event, pushing that out, doing that every half second, we're essentially getting data in every half second. But that's some of the difference between the events. This is sending an event command out into Watson. The same way when we send publish a message out, we're sending that out as an event, okay? And they all are coming out, and then we're able to watch it come in under these instructions. In the next video, we're going to see how we're going to write an event in here to send it back down. So the stream of data is going the opposite way because I wanted to come back down to eventually influence my PLC and write data to my PLC, or write data into my ESP, depending on what I'm doing. So the way the data is going is important, and what you'll see is we're going to use IBM Watson to help structure that. So this is data coming in, events coming in, and then we might do another table to try and have events coming out. Okay, so I hope you found this video helpful.